She didn't want a priest to and I quote, to say a lot of bullshit. Hello everyone, welcome to my place, welcome to The Honest Student. As you can see, my apartment is slowly but surely getting ready. Actually, it is kind of 90% ready, but you won't get the apartment tour for another few weeks, I think. That's not what I want to talk to you about today. I wanted to talk about bereavement, and I feel like since it's just been All Saints Day the past weekend, maybe a lot of you are thinking about your loved ones that you've lost. I recently lost my grandma, and her funeral was last Thursday, and my grandma and I, we used to talk on the phone with each other because we lived too far apart to see each other that often, so we used to talk on the phone a couple of hours even, and sort of try and make each other laugh, and I always try to shock her in some way to get a reaction out of her. And she was just a bit like kind of goofy, quirky sort of person, and kind of the way that I feel a lot of times, and I feel like that side is definitely from her. Maybe a year ago, she told me how she wanted her funeral. She wanted me to write the eulogy and speak in the church. But yeah, one of the reasons she wanted me to do that was because she didn't want a priest to and I quote, to say a lot of bullshit about her. Okay, thanks Grandma, no pressure, right? I struggled writing it because I turned sad like all the time writing it, and it ended up being a 5-minute speech, and people liked it, thankfully, which felt really good. And they said that that's just like Grandma. My cousins all came up to me afterwards and told me that you got Grandma spot on, and yeah, so that felt really good to hear. Last Thursday, that's when this happened, and I think up till that day I've sort of, even though I cried and grieved like the days before and on that day, I kind of try to keep it together as much as possible to be able to make my speech. Washing machine is, and as soon as I got up there, I was this close to start crying, and I had to take a couple of deep breaths, and as soon as I started talking, it kind of worked. But once I got in the pew again, the tears just came. And afterwards, during lunch, it was fine, and during the rest of the day I didn't really cry. I felt exhausted and very tired, so I went to bed early that day. The day after though, I could not stop crying. It was just like I had held it together so much. It came out the day after. Like, if this is the way I feel about losing my grandmother, I can't even imagine a person who have lost the parent too early or the child too early. That's just, I can't even imagine that. But that's sort of why I wanted to talk about this today as well, because if you have someone close to you, or even if it's just a random person on Facebook expressing their grief or something, a lot of people are like, they don't know what to say, and I come to the conclusion that you don't really have to say that much. You know, a heart, sending like, you know, the Facebook hearts is enough sending a text with a simple hug is enough. Or sometimes use the person who is grieving, give them the knowledge that they have someone who is willing to listen. That is enough. You don't have to know what to say. Because I've not experienced firsthand, but I've experienced secondhand how person grieving has sort of lost friends from that, because no one knows how to act anymore. And grief can be such an ongoing thing for years, but no one really knows what to say or do around this person then. And like, if it's a really huge loss, it can be a grief that lasts forever, and then that will likely change the person. In some ways, yes, I can understand why you lose friends from that, but just know that you don't have to know what to say. Go and cut the grass, or leave food, or just send hugs. Since I was feeling so low last week, I kind of want to see what to do for yourself when you're grieving. What can you do? So this isn't even my tips, but I think they're really good. I found them on nhs.uk, and it's 7 tips on how to deal with grief and loss. And the first one is express yourself, which is probably the most important one. Like, don't keep it all inside. Talk to someone, call, send a text, make a post, anything really. Number 2, allow yourself to feel sad. Super important as well, because I think often we try and go about our day and we try and like sort of push the feelings aside a bit, but just take time and let yourself cry whenever you feel like crying. Like, let yourself be vulnerable in front of others as well. If you're grieving, you're grieving. Tell them, even though it might be awkward or weird. I think it will help in the long term if you just be open about that. Allow yourself to feel sad whenever, wherever. Number 3, keep your routine up. Even though there are some days you will want to stay in bed, maybe it's just enough to get up and brush your teeth. Maybe that could be a start to keep up some sort of routine that will just keep you going a bit, you know what I mean? And just, or take a shower. That could just be a really good thing. Or like something really small, or just brush your hair. So some sort of routine that you would do during a normal day. Number 4, sleep. As I already said, I experienced being super tired. So acknowledge that. Go to bed earlier. Sleep more than you normally would do. That's fine. 5, eat healthily. Try and stay away from a ton of caffeine or sugar that will just make your mood go like this. Maybe you'll get a high from it, but then your dip gonna be even lower. Or if you just eat junk food because you don't want to cook, your body's probably going to react to that, and it's gonna make you feel, I don't know, lethargic even more. Try and eat healthy food because it's gonna benefit you. 6, avoid things that numb the pain. So that could be like alcohol, or for me it could be like scrolling through Instagram or Tumblr, not really being present, which is a sort of numbing feeling. Sometimes I think when, you know, we're scrolling our phones, I think that is very often like a numbing thing, because we are trying to, in a way, escape the real world. I think doing that too much when you're grieving could, in a way, I know, be a coping mechanism, but also be a way of escaping your feelings. So just like, I think that's a good thing to be aware of. 7, go to counseling if that is right for you. Not everyone will benefit from counseling or feel that is right for them. Maybe they have a great support system at home, or they sort of have the tools for themselves how to cope with things, but not everyone has that privilege. Counseling is definitely something worth considering. Yeah, so those are the 7 tips that NHS gave me, and I just want to add a couple of tips from that I thought about. Number 8, don't compare your pain with someone else's. What I mean is that you shouldn't, it's sort of what I said at the beginning, like just because I've lost my grandma, I said that I can't understand how would it be to lose a child. And I understand that that pain is bigger and harder, but just because it is, it shouldn't diminish what I'm feeling. I should be allowed to be just as sad, angry or whatever, and just like, oh, they're grieving more, so I have no right. Like, that's bullshit, okay? You have every right to grieve, how small or sad or big, how small or big the situation is. It doesn't matter. You have lost something, and only you know how that loss feels to you. Number 9, write down your feelings, and I guess that's another form of expressing yourself, talking to someone else, but just get all these thoughts out of your head and just write them down. Can be really healing in a way. Write whatever you feel and just get the emotions out. I find that they can go in circles, just round and round and round. Getting them out on a piece of paper can really like help to not necessarily move on, but sort of break the circle. Those are the tips for grieving. I want to end this video with a little quote from a Swedish author and director, and that is, "One day we shall die, but all the other days we shall live." Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next Thursday. Bye.